stomach, 4 packets. I use the packets, which have more sodium in them, but I'm not really worried about the sodium as much right now. I try to write down everything I eat still on a journal. So I make sure I get my 7-8 meals a day. Keeps me on track a little more to have a journal. But the grits definitely sit better with me. In off season, I might eat a steak for breakfast with the eggs instead of having the avocado. I still try to take in with fats, but the steak will definitely help me make me fuller in the off season. So I always take my supplements halfway through my meal. You see, as I eat, I pick each pill as I eat. I think they're better digested in the middle of your meal. So my supplements vary different times of the year, but I always try to take in pretty much vitamin C, a multivitamin, coenzyme Q10, essential fats, whether it be from primrose oil or flax. I take vitamin B complex, digestive enzymes for sure. I try to take it, especially with the amount of protein I eat. I use a digestive enzyme. I do use branch chains around my training, and usually if I have protein shakes, it is around my training. And of course, before I do cardio, I usually do a dose of hydroxycut-X for optimal fat burning. I like to use L-carnitine, which is great for also burning fat. But right now, I'm mainly eating as much whole food as possible and not really using as much supplementation as replacements, because the mainstay of your diet, of course, has to be food. So if my body needs to replenish really quickly, that's when I use like the powders and the recovery powders and protein. So right now I'm at home training for the competition, which allows me to be able to get all my meals in properly, which, when I'm on the road traveling off season, I'm not afraid to eat bars and drink as much shakes as possible, obviously, because of my schedule. It doesn't permit me to be able to eat food all the time. Sometimes I get stuck in the airport at the hotel with no food late at night. I'm one of these guys that actually gets up in the night and eats, so sometimes that's not feasible for me. So that's when I'll use the supplementation to get in there and get the nutrients that way. So usually like to take the supplements in the morning. I take another dosage at night. This is pretty much the start of my day now. Meal 1 done, and we'll go hit the gym here. So, we're gonna get up and do a little stairs now. Okay, so usually about 40 to 45 minutes, and get the blood going a little bit, and go from there. So I usually just endure my weight, and then I usually do just a slower pace, pretty much like level 2 or 3, and really try to squeeze. Get that sweat going. I'm already sweating already, but in the summertime, this garage is about 120, 130 degrees, so it's pretty easy to get the sweat going. So morning and night, this is how I do it. And of course, I look at the wall of achievements, some of the covers here. Sometimes I watch TV, but today I'm going to listen to the headset.
Go ahead and take me out. Line up your sights and just my first Mr. Olympia. Right there, I was 15th place, 1999. And then in 2000 I went to 8th. And then in 01 I got second, all the way till I won in 06, in 07, and then second again, and then 2009.
Push me away again.
So the treadmill, I go to a little incline, do some incline treadmill, really stretch the glutes and hamstrings. Not too fast or a pace, but just enough to be able to get that stretch.
I hear your voice, but it keeps on pulling away. I can feel your breath by the way your lips taste. The memory fades. So savor this moment and keep it safe. When I'm gone, do whatever it takes to believe in yourself. When they tell you it's wrong, you can smile and fake it with the best of them. Take it into retrospect, it won't matter at all. When the light you deceivingly set up turns to lies inside the blink of an eye. Who do you go? And who is
Stretch a little bit. The hamstrings get real tight, you know. There, it's a good pumping, I get a lot of blood. I'm gonna put some legs today, so pretty much my cardio is done 7 days a week. Most people take a day off, but I take no days off for cardiovascular. Every morning and every night, pretty much the same. Garden food? Garden food? So the dogs take priority in the morning.
Picture this, she'll frame it in a fit distraction to keep her mind off of the pain. A crowded room with flashing colors, perfect crowd, she's glad you came. Don't waste it when it's worth your time. So just face it, you might get lucky and change your mind. She'll find a way. You know that she can stay. She's out of bed to find a friend. She's okay. Don't wait up late 'cause she don't even know what happens next. What happens next? Let's rewind. There used to be a sweet seduction when everything was innocent. The light is dim and now her fingers not quite placed on where it went. Don't waste it.
So here we are at Advanced Manual Therapy with Dr. Mike, who gave me a lot of attention for this year's Olympia. I was in here helping fix some issues I had with a lot of scar tissue in my leg. Okay, so I was fortunate enough to hook up with Mike, who is definitely one of the best therapists, if not the best, here in Las Vegas Valley. One of the few with the credentials to be the best therapist here. So I'm going to let him talk a little bit about what it took to make my body back to the winning physique that took the Olympia this year. And of course he was there to support me and gave me a lot of extra time, probably the most time of any patient that he's had. And he told me from day one, he says, I will fix you to be 100% for the Olympia. He made that promise to me, and he says, I'll give you all the time that it takes to be 100% for the competition. So
It's my pleasure, buddy. Well, I'm Mike Grant, TC. I have my doctorate in physical therapy, manual therapy certified, and I have a master's in occupational therapy. And I met Jay at the gym. I was working out, doing squats next to him, and
not as much weight, of course.
almost. But after his set, I saw him stop and grimace and grab his leg and his back and his butt a little bit, and that stopped me from doing what I was doing. I started asking him what was going on. He told me about a previous injury he had many years ago, and he just hasn't been the same since. And he's been struggling with muscle development and pain and structure. And I checked him out real quick, and I saw some deficits that I thought I could fix, and I told him what I would do for him if he came in. And he came in a couple of days later, and that's when it all started. And the biggest thing I saw was just biomechanical dysfunctions, like the pelvis not being lined up properly, muscle development not being done right, muscles adhering to each other, scar tissue developed where the injury was, so a lot of the fibers weren't developing and moving the way they should be as he's training. With someone as athletic as him and his activities that he does and his bodybuilding, it's very important that all the fibers are working, are similar in size on both, and symmetrical in size on both sides of the body. So that's pretty much what we started addressing, was all the dysfunctions and all the impairments until he started getting everything growing the way it should be growing and moving the way it was moving. And by the time he was ready for Mr. O, he was in prime shape.
So I spent a lot of time here. I mean, we spent how many sessions? I mean, it's countless hours. I mean, I spent, what, 3 hours a
It
day?
was about 2-3 hour sessions, about 4 days a week,
A lot of pain,
a lot of sweat.
and he would have to I would come at the end of the day so he could strip down into his tank top and work on me, because it was a lot of different, I mean, it was a lot of harder work than he was used to doing on a lot of the other patients here.
His muscles are a little bigger than most of the patients I work with, so it took a little bit extra, just a little bit extra work on my behalf.
So I just want to, say thank you to Dr. Mike for making me the best that I could be this year, and of course to the staff here for the great support that they gave me on winning the third title, which was thought to be impossible, but we made it all happen. This is part of my team that got me to the top once again.
We're going for number 4 next.
Yes, number 4.